Before we begin, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that kindness often returns in ways nobody expects. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because the shocking truth hidden inside an old rusty car will change the lives of everyone involved. On a cold autumn morning, Daniel Carter stood in a crowded parking lot holding his 7-year-old daughter's hand while trying not to think about the eviction notice folded inside his jacket pocket. The paper felt heavier than it should have. Every few minutes, he touched the pocket just to remind himself it was real. 3 weeks. That was all the landlord had given him. 3 weeks to pay 4 months of overdue rent or leave. His daughter, Lily, knew nothing about it. Daniel intended to keep it that way. As far as Lily knew, life was normal. Daddy still made pancakes on Sundays. Daddy still walked her to school. Daddy still smiled every time she showed him a drawing. But smiles were becoming expensive. And Daniel was running out of everything else. The 35-year-old single father worked 2 jobs. During the day, he repaired air conditioners and heating systems. At night, he stocked shelves in a grocery store. Even with both jobs, bills kept piling up. Medical debt from his late wife's illness had swallowed nearly every dollar he earned. 3 years earlier, Daniel had buried his wife, Emma. Cancer had taken her quickly. The hospital bills stayed behind. Every month felt like a battle against an enemy that never slept. Yet somehow Daniel kept going. Not for himself. For Lily. Everything he did was for Lily. Every exhausted morning. Every missed meal. Every sleepless night. Every sacrifice. It was all for her. That morning he was standing outside the prestigious Hawthorne Automotive Charity Gala. The event attracted wealthy collectors, business leaders, and luxury car enthusiasts from across the country. Daniel wasn't there because he belonged. He was there because the organizers needed temporary workers. His task was simple. Help move equipment. Guide visitors. Handle parking arrangements. At the end of the day, he'd receive $200. $200 mattered. Right now, every dollar mattered. Lily sat quietly beside him on a folding chair, coloring in a notebook. School was closed for teacher training. He couldn't afford a babysitter. So she came with him. "Daddy," Lily said softly. "Yeah, sweetheart? Do rich people ever get sad?" Daniel smiled. "Of course. Even billionaires?" "Even billionaires." She thought about this seriously. Then money doesn't fix everything. Daniel looked at her. Sometimes she sounded much older than 7. "No," he replied. "It doesn't." A few feet away, luxury vehicles worth millions gleamed beneath the morning sun. Ferraris. Lamborghinis. Bentleys. Rolls-Royces. Cars Daniel could never dream of owning. Yet among all those masterpieces sat something strange. A rusty old sedan. Its paint was faded. The tires looked ancient. The body carried years of neglect. Compared to everything around it, the car seemed ridiculous. Daniel assumed it was some kind of decoration. Or maybe a joke. He would soon learn just how right he was. Across the lot, 28-year-old Victoria Hawthorne stepped out of a black limousine. Conversations stopped. Heads turned. Cameras flashed. Victoria was the only daughter of billionaire industrialist Richard Hawthorne. Following her father's death the previous year, she had inherited an empire valued at nearly $12 billion. Magazines called her America's youngest billionaire heiress. Business reporters followed her everywhere. Social media analyzed every outfit she wore. Most people believed she had a perfect life. Most people were wrong. Victoria's expression rarely changed. She moved through crowds with practiced confidence. But behind the expensive clothes and public image lived a woman carrying grief she never discussed. Richard Hawthorne had not simply been her father. He had been her best friend. His sudden heart attack had shattered her world. For 12 months she had buried herself in work to avoid confronting the loss. And lately, bitterness had started replacing sadness. The gala was supposed to honor Richard's legacy. Instead, Victoria viewed it as another obligation. Another event. Another speech. Another crowd pretending to care. As she approached the exhibition area, her eyes landed on the rusty sedan. The old vehicle had belonged to her father. Richard had refused to sell it despite countless offers. Nobody understood why. Not even Victoria. According to family stories, he had purchased it when he was young and struggling. Long before he became wealthy. Long before success. Long before private jets and skyscrapers. He had always insisted the car reminded him who he was. Victoria found the sentiment ridiculous. The thing was falling apart. She had planned to scrap it months ago. Only her father's lawyer convinced her to keep it. At least temporarily. Now she stared at the rusty relic and shook her head. What a waste of space, she muttered. Nearby executives laughed. One of them suggested giving it away. Another joked about paying someone to haul it off. Victoria smiled for the first time that morning. Then she noticed Daniel. A tired worker wearing faded jeans. Scuffed boots. A worn jacket. Standing beside a little girl. An idea entered her mind. It began as a harmless joke. Or so she thought. "See that man?" she asked an assistant. "Bring him over." A few minutes later Daniel found himself standing face to face with one of the richest women in America. His palms grew sweaty. He assumed he had done something wrong. Victoria looked him over. Then she pointed toward the rusty sedan. "Do you like cars?" Daniel blinked. "I guess. How would you like that one?" He thought she was serious. Then he noticed people smiling. Watching. Waiting. The realization hit him. They were making fun of the car. And maybe of him. Daniel felt embarrassment rise in his chest. Still, he remained polite. "It's nice," he said. Several executives laughed. Victoria folded her arms. "You can have it." The crowd chuckled louder. Daniel stared at her. "What?" "You heard me." She tossed him a set of keys. "I officially give it to you." Everyone expected him to refuse. Everyone expected him to look embarrassed. Instead, Daniel caught the keys and smiled. A genuine smile. Not because he understood the joke. Because nobody had ever given him a car before. "Thank you," he said sincerely. The laughter faded. Something about his gratitude made the moment uncomfortable. Victoria suddenly felt strange. But she pushed the feeling away. "It's all yours." Daniel looked at the rusty vehicle. Then at Lily. The little girl grinned. "Daddy. We have a car." For the first time in months, Daniel laughed. A real laugh. And neither he nor Victoria had any idea that hidden inside that forgotten automobile was a secret worth $9 million. A secret Richard Hawthorne had protected for decades. A secret capable of changing every life it touched. The journey was only beginning.